Morning, guys. Okay, I have two lives to do. This one is actually kind of to answer one question, and then the second one will be to answer the other question. All right, so the question I want to answer today is real simple. Um, Recently, someone said to me that they thought that they needed to affirm for others and they needed to work really, really hard and they needed to continue to say things, and that this is what they've been told, that this is their method, that they need to repeat their affirmations over and over and over and over and over again. That is the purpose, right? So that's their method. Okay. And I teach the exact opposite of that. So I'd like to explain why. Okay. Our job is to let our desire be as our guide and to close the gap, bridge the gap between our heart and our mind. Okay. What our mind can see is very limited. As you know, what I've mentioned to you guys before is that what this is like, your ability to see would be the equivalent of being, let's say, in a darkened warehouse where everything ever that's ever going to exist, that has ever existed, that will exist, it's all there. So our eyes can only see but so far. So it's kind of like a darkened warehouse that contains everything ever imaginable, things that we don't even know exist. And they're just kind of all in this warehouse. And your ability to see is your ability to see as far as the flashlight can take you. So you are limited in that sense. So your mind is only going to see but this far. It's not counting everything that is available to you. It's only going to see this far. So your job is to bridge the gap between what you can see and what you can't see, and be the device that allows you to get over to the other side, to convince your brain, to bridge that so that your brain is convinced. This is the object of the game. This is what we've always been told to do. And the reason why I do not tell you to affirm like mad for other people, or work really hard, or exhaust yourself, is because that state of lack is not a vibrational match to the being that already has what they have. In other words, if I was continually affirming, he loves me, 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 he loves me. I am doing this in an effort to convince myself because I don't have it. Therefore, what is visible is that I'm not seeing that, right? But the state that I want is someone that already has that. So why would I continue to affirm for what I already have? It's lack. And although we can do the work, we are working against ourselves. This is where I would like to apply the law of reverse effort. Reverse engineer the fact that your heart is letting you know what has already been created. It has already been given to you, although you cannot see it because it is in the warehouse deeper than you can see. Okay, let's consider this warehouse our subconscious that contains everything you will ever imagine available to you. So if that is what's in there, it's deeper in the warehouse than you are able to see it. However, your heart can see it all. This is your seeing eye dog, and this is the gap you need to bridge. So is the person that is continually affirming for having this still trying to convince themselves of what they cannot see, and therefore behaving from a place of lack and working much harder than they need to, because the state or the bridge that I want to form to get to the other side is the state in which I already have it. The person that already has it isn't affirming for it. They are in a state of gratitude instead, in order to maintain it. So instead, they are grateful for all the attention they get. Instead, they magnify and give it back and show appreciation for what they have instead. But they are in a state of absolute peace, comfort, control, and they're enjoying their present moment because they already have it. So it's counterintuitive to me, logically, when you put these two and two together, why I would not want to spend so much time working against myself when the object of the game is to match the vibration. Feeling is the secret. In order for my heart to connect to my mind and let my mind reproduce what I want instead. It is a movement of mind, but you must bridge the gap between the two. So someone who is continuously affirming is doing the exact opposite. However, it is a way to get there. Yes, you will eventually, after saying it so many times, eventually find yourself in this state because you've convinced yourself. Here's the problem with this climb and doing it this way, okay? A potential problem. If you take a moment to think about this, if you are not accustomed to harnessing the vibration of the state of the person that already has it, when you have achieved your state, you will doubt it. You won't recognize it. You will retard yourself backwards and fall back into the state of lack, hence the hot and cold behavior. Why? Because you have not harnessed and focused the power of the vibration of the person who already has it. Therefore, it is foreign to you. So you're not convinced fully. So the state cannot maintain and stay as your normal. See, for the person that already has it, this is my normal state. This is what I am accustomed to. This is what I'm used to. This is what I always receive. You see, this is a normal state. Therefore, I am used to being this way, so I always get it. When trying to make this leap, we need to make sure we understand that we have harnessed the power of that vibration so that when we do enter the state, because we always will, we are accustomed to being this way. Therefore, the outside is already reflecting because it is my confirmation loop. You guys need to catch up with the present and be very aware of where you're at, and how to get to where you're at will mean that feeling is the secret and that we must master and harness the power of our focus so that we bridge the divide and so that we can get to our desired state in an instant if we are not resistant to the idea of how this works. Now, it's taken me a long time to get here to understand, but seeing as I get it, I might as well share this information with you guys. So this is the reason I don't affirm. Will I eventually get it? Yes, the potential does exist. I will give you an example of my client whom did this. She affirmed at one point for almost 14 hours straight. 14 hours straight, you guys. She affirmed over and over and over and over and over again. Okay? So she was in no contact, and then she got contact. They spent the weekend together. This would be great, except she didn't believe that she had achieved her state. Okay? So it fell apart just as quickly as it came back. And then what settled in was the thought that she had spent 14 hours trying to get here, got here, but because she had not harnessed the state of being this person, it felt unnatural to her, so the illusion collapsed upon itself. This is happening to you guys more often than not if you are not harnessing the power of gratitude for the state already being so. Because you want to step into the skin of the person, the version of you that already has it. So you don't want to be from a place of lack. Okay? The law of reverse effort works in your favor when you know things. Because if you know things, now your desire exists outside of you, and the world will serve you. They will come to you. They will teach you. So, for example, if my desire in this world was to figure this out and then give this gift to the world, okay, now I no longer desire this. I just consider it done. I focus on this. Now all of you come to me for help, and you teach me how to see in reverse. Mission accomplished. Okay? It's always going to serve me, but the only reason I can see this now clear as day is because this is it makes sense once you apply Neville and you see it every day and day in and day out. Now, it is very easy to live from a place of lack, but you're going to have to harness the power of understanding yourself. You're going to have to harness the power of loving yourself. You're going to have to trust that your attention on them is not what you need. If you are told that the kingdom is within, then the kingdom is within means your attention needs to be on how you think, on applying these principles, on applying heart-brain coherence and gratitude for the state. You need to practice being what you wish to desire so that the outside changes in tune. This is how it works. We are tempted to allow the outside to teach us. The problem with that is, as I said, is yes, it is one way, but it is the way in which we are enslaved to our world. The other way, we are much more at peace with what happens. We're responding, we're vibing at a higher level. You have to choose to do this. So this is the reason I say that for me, it is very counterintuitive. That is not to say that I don't believe affirmations work. You see, we all have moments of doubt. And if I'm going to use an affirmation, I'm going to use something that is universally true and that I absolutely accept. And when I doubt, that's when I might use my affirmation. In those moments for a little while, just to reaffirm what is true. And so this will get me back into my state and maintain it. But I want to live from the place of already having what I have. It is important to be living from. Otherwise, you're on the outside looking in, trying to figure out how to get to that state. That's the reason why I recommend only working on this type of manifestation in no more than 15 to 20 minute increments. Okay, 5 minutes in the evening before bed, 5 minutes in the morning, and allow yourself any 5-minute increments when you doubt. But that's it. So no more than 10 to 20 minutes. Maybe spend the first 5 minutes just breathing and relaxing in order to get into the desired state. And then from there, I'm going to practice harnessing the vibration of something that I wish to achieve, because it is in being that I receive, because I have bridged the gap. But you must allow your heart to see for you. Since your heart does not exist in time, it can register that which you can't see. This allows you to see into the kingdom and achieve your desired state by knowing. And I want you guys to remember this. It is your state of knowing that gets anyone and everyone to behave out of character. I have seen this, my own eyes, in my everyday life with people that I know that vibe at a higher rate. And so they make people literally change before their eyes. I recently did this for a friend. I just spent the weekend with a really good friend, and I met her significant other, and he was very open and very trusting around me. And it was quite a beautiful thing to see, because that's not his normal. But his defense was down because my defense was down. And so she called this a super skill. It's kind of cool. But you achieve this sort of super skill from being this. Because you'll realize that when you are at peace with everything being you, when you're at peace with your story within, when you have realized why and how it's serving you and what you're there for, things will change. Things will change. You'll be very grateful for the way that things show up. But you see, I am never trying to convince myself that somebody loves me. I'm not doing that. I am loved. I am loved. That is true. And so it's not a matter of coming from a place of lack. So this is why I recommend using the law of reverse effort. If you are one of these people that are affirming 12, 14 hours a day and that have these hot and cold situations, or that have been in the situation like my client where her whole situation dissolved, or you can't seem to stabilize the field, or any of these things, it's probably due to this. So harness the power of your focus, harness the power of your state, and understand that when you surrender control, when you start taking your focus off there and putting it back in here, you are trusting in the invisible side of you, in the spirit aspect of you that can do anything. You don't even have to know how. You don't have to know how. You just have to harness the power of gratitude to convince your brain to reproduce it. So you are not giving up on your experience. You are not giving up on your desire when you are harnessing the power of this focus. No, rather you know how it works. So you are harnessing the power of that focus in order to experience it. You will experience it, but you won't go into this endeavor in doubt. And so the more you trust, the less resistant you are, the more instant your manifestations become. And you'll understand that you never lose anything, and you will always enter your state if you can become aware of the power of harnessing that state and living from there. Okay? And think about it rationally. If I'm constantly getting attention from my significant other, no matter who it is, they're always saying, I love you, I live for you, you're my universe, you are so amazing, you're my safe place, you're my best friend, you complete my life, I need to be with you, you're my wife, I don't know what it is, you drive me insane, but I love you. If these are the types of things you're always hearing, rest assured your self-concept is good. This is someone who lives from this state. This is my life. This is my constant, no matter who I choose to love. That's the thing. And this is true of everyone. When you are totally enamored with who you are, when you're at peace, and when you realize how desire works, and so you use desire as your seeing eye dog to achieve your states. This allows you to walk into peace into these situations, and you'll notice that you never gave up anything when you stopped focusing out there. You realize that you had the power to live and create as you desire, and you'll realize that true living begins when you awaken this ability. And from a place of peace, you now can co-create with the world in a totally different place, totally different mind space, not from a place of lack, but from a place of absolute faith that this is how it works. And so this allows you to see how we can behave from a place of lack, and how we can instead really truly embody what Neville is teaching and live from the state and embody this. This means that our actions will coincide with our desired state as well, For example, I wouldn't be affirming that someone loves me if I know that they love me. I would be harnessing the power of that knowing instead. You see how I'm putting more emphasis on the power of knowing. Why? Because it says be still and know. This is an application of that law. So think about what I'm saying. I hope this answers this question about a lot of effort versus a lot less effort, okay? And how a lot less effort demonstrates a faith, and how a lot of effort demonstrates lack of faith. And that at the end of the day, we must take the shortcut and realize we are the only ones we're trying to convince. So in harnessing the power of what does it look like if I were on the receiving end of this, that's where your harness, the power of that focus needs to be. And then you'll notice that where you have placed your attention, this will then be magnified out into the world. And you will enter your states at will. You'll notice you'll desire less and instead enjoy everything you are and how it unfolds. You'll be very present in the now moment. And that is the place where everything happens instantly. And you do want to be here. Okay? Love you guys. I'll do another live little later on tonight. The second live, as I said, I'm going to answer another question. It was in regards to scraps, taking scraps from individuals and what's acceptable and not acceptable. And I gave my boundary. And someone asked, you know, to some people, this might be a great achievement. So I wanted to address that and let you guys know that it is not, why for me it is not an achievement, and how we are deciding boundaries. And it is not about comparison, but about letting you guys know this is how I live. These are my boundaries. And as a result, this is how I'm treated. This is my example. It is not the only example. You all should make and decide what those boundaries are for you. So I'll address that later on tonight. Thank you guys. And I hope you take into consideration what I'm saying. And I hope the answer to this question of a ton of effort versus not necessarily minimal effort, but a concentrated short burst, okay, of effort versus 14 hours a day of a place of lack, and the difference that would make in how you create and how you'll enjoy manifestation versus making it feel like it's a job or a chore. Okay? All right, you guys. Have a great rest of your day.